Before we start going through this very important devlog, it needs to be said that right at the end is the sentence, "If you don't see the answer to your question, it may be because there are still parts of the update that haven't been finalized yet." So, if you have further questions about the update, like I had myself, quite a lot of them to be honest, you should ask them in our massive Enlisted Discord server with over 2,000 members and a number of official helpers for the game who can answer it for you. I have also been given the go-ahead to do a personal Q&A video with KOFox himself, community manager for Darkflow Studios and Enlisted, where I will submit questions that you would like answered about the game to him to answer, and I'll turn this into a future video. The Discord is where you can submit this, being opened very soon. But now let's get into the bread and butter of this update. Everything in the first paragraph you should already know is coming to the game, and if you don't, I've made loads more explanation videos on previous devlogs which you can find in the top corner of the video now. This one, however, is the all-encompassing Q&A devlog that we've been waiting for a very long time. It may have taken a while to get here, but it's finally here, and actually is very in-depth, which is great to see. And another post in the next few days, probably early next week if I had to guess a date, but don't quote me on that, about the new UI and how that will all look, which will equally be awesome to see. The first section is about progression and tech tree research stuff. This again should not be a surprise to you. Campaigns are merging into factions. Your Normandy allies and Pacific allies will be combined into the USA. Similarly, your Normandy Axis, Moscow Axis, Berlin Axis, Tunisia Axis, and Stalingrad Axis will all be combined into Germany, and so on. A much simpler system for a much improved game. Very nice. It also says, in the development tree you will have those squads, weapons and vehicles that you managed to get in at least one campaign of each individual country at the time of the update. And in actual plain English, this just means for you that if you unlocked the MP43/1 assault rifle in Normandy, but not in Berlin, then you will have the MP43/1 unlocked when the campaigns merge. Another great thing. It also says, unfinished progress will be transferred over, which I've confirmed to mean is the closest amount of XP, i.e., if you're 10k XP towards the M1 Garand and Normandy allies, and 7k towards it on Pacific allies, you get the 10k towards the weapon after this update. It's pretty generous by the snail, not gonna lie. I never knew the snail had a heart. You can choose what you want to research, rather than the current campaign system where you're forced to research the bloody M1 carbine, even though it's absolutely atrocious. Definitely not salty about spending my lifetime researching something I hate, definitely not. How could you even accuse me of this? Now obviously I don't know what's going to be within each tier for weaponry, but from the language used here, I'd assume that if the M1 Carbine and the M1 Garand were in the same tier as possible rifle unlocks, you can pick to grind the M1 Garand and ignore the M1 Carbine if you'd like to, and then move onwards up the tree to further tiers after that. Obviously this is just an example, don't actually assume the M1 Carbine and M1 Garand are going to be in the same tier, because I have no idea. The next section is newer and more important for you all to understand. In short, the first paragraph basically says that wherever you have in your inventory, I mean warehouses is an interesting word for this, you will keep. I don't know why on God's green earth you'd buy 100 Gewehr 41 rifles as it suggests, but if you really are that silly for whatever reason, then you will be rewarded for your decisions by keeping them all. But 100 Nagant pistols, now that's not something to be laughed at. That's the sign of a true Sigma. However many soldiers you will buy, you will also keep them all too. Same with vehicles. To my knowledge, premium squads and gold order weapons soldiers vehicles are also the same, so you don't need to worry about those either. And if you bought the Stalingrad or Pacific packs from the store when they came out, you keep the special squads it came with. And there's a note to tell you to grind those campaigns now, so you can unlock the stuff already for the merge that you paid for, especially in the Stalingrad bundles case, before the merge. This shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you either, because they have mentioned this many times and have given you plenty of time to grind it. But lucky for you, you still should have a long time left to grind it. I don't know when the update's coming, but if I had to guess something, it would probably be in the region of the next few months. I don't know, but that's more or less how long you have left to grind it. And if you have the massive XP boosts that come with the Stalingrad pack, the grind for this campaign will be super quick. Oh, and if you want a top secret pro enlisted tip direct from me, my advice is to spend your time now grinding Stalingrad if you have the time for only one campaign, especially if you have the full access pack. This is because it will allow you to unlock very OP late tier weapons in preparation for the merge right now, such as the MKB-42, the AVT, the Sniper MKB, the ZH-29, the AVS, the SVT, the PPSH, and the German stolen PPSH, and much more. These things are so good and will do you so well well if this is the only thing you have by the time of the merge. Trust me. You spend just a few hours playing this campaign and you'll unlock all of these things forever. Plus, Stalingrad actually has tremendous gameplay right now. I mean, we play it super regularly over on my Twitch streams because it is just so fun. So join us every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday evenings to squad up with me. There will also be a stream today as this video comes out to discuss with you guys this update, as I can answer a number of your questions. Regarding squad slots, which has caused lots of unnecessary debate on the forums and Reddit, especially because the developers have repeatedly said you will be compensated very fairly for those if you were to lose any, even though almost nobody will lose anything to begin with if people would have read a little bit more carefully when they posted it, are also addressed here. It's actually worded pretty poorly in the first sentence here though, thanks Google Translate, but what it means is that you will keep all your squad slots you have purchased in any campaign up until the grand total of 10 per faction after the merge, as 10 is the maximum you can have in any current campaign, and that's the maximum they're keeping after the merge. For some reason, people still get very confused when we talk about this, so listen to me carefully right now as I'll explain this. So, if you have bought, say, 1 extra squad slot in Normandy Allies, you will definitely have the starting 4 squad slots everybody gets for free anyway, plus 1 squad slot for the USA faction after the campaigns merge. So you don't lose out on anything and you can keep everything you paid for. But now imagine a different scenario. Let's say you bought every single squad slot, i.e. you now have the max of 10 squad slots in both Normandy Allies and Pacific Allies campaigns, the campaigns that were both merged to become the USA faction. Then, after the merge, you will have 10 squad slots when the big update happens, and you will be refunded 4 squad slots in Enlisted Gold for the exact amount you bought them for. So, you get everything returned back to you that you spent. Because remember, people automatically get 6 squad slots if they have bought a premium account. So people can only buy 4 extra per campaign max, which is why you can get 10 in every campaign. Hopefully the maths is not too challenging for you all. But of course, post any questions you have below this video and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And then lastly, it said in a previous devlog that if you bought the Stalingrad campaign full access bundle, then you will now keep 3 squads for free there for both Germany and USSR, as that bundle came with automatically all 10 slots for that campaign. 3 slots is actually super valuable considering everything else you get to keep from Stalingrad, and there really is no cause for complaint here. If you're still complaining about this, then you're really just annoyed that campaigns are merging itself and not that your pack is being removed, because you're literally keeping everything from the pack now. Every other benefit you bought is staying with you, keeping you ahead of other players if you bought it. Hopefully you will understand this now. Anyway, rant over. The third section is about unified currency. This should also be already known to you all, and if you've ever played Gaijin Entertainment's super other successful game, War Thunder, then you'll know all about this system already. In short, all your bronze and silver orders, both weaponry and troop orders, will become a single currency, silver. You'll obtain this silver in about the same way as you received orders, so nothing's really changing here. It's just the name of the thing that's being changed. All gold orders will remain unchanged though, so the existing system for obtaining cool vehicle skins, special historical troops, and unique weaponry will all be in the same. And if you want to see what gold weapon orders you should buy, I've reviewed them all in a playlist in the top corner you can click on now. Then the last section before the commonly asked questions is the new training system. This was also mentioned previously in the second devblog, but in short, they're expanding the variety of perks your soldiers will have access to, while simplifying the whole process of leveling up soldiers, which really needed a change, if you ask me. It's looking super promising, and we won't know much about it yet, but we will do in the coming weeks, so keep your eyes peeled and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all Enlisted news. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers, and I'll love you all eternally if you do click it. And if these soldier perk changes come in, maybe I won't get so many questions going forward about how soldier progression works. I mean, knowing the IQ of the average Enlisted player, maybe I still will, but that's besides the point. Then there's the Q&A. You guys hopefully are legible, so I won't just regurgitate what's written here to you, and instead I'll just pick out the key new things you probably didn't know already. The first one is important, because it follows on from what was said earlier about you keeping your weapons and soldiers, but you keep your squads too, including how they were set up, what soldier classes you choose to unlock for the squad, etc. More information on how this will work will be provided in future news releases. Secondly, soldier customization will be changed into different uniforms for different regions, almost as it is now in-game with the campaign system, and how you customize each soldier in each campaign. But this time you'll be able to customize with appropriate gear, like Ushankas in the cold and icy wastes of Moscow Moscow's winter suburbs, and body armor in the dangerous streets of Berlin. They are also keeping some good level of historical accuracy, even if the game is becoming more arcadey, which I think is good, by the way. You can play as a faction, but you will only fight the historical opponents. Though this does really open up a new theatre of ideas for USSR versus Japan in the future, even if it's not mentioned here. An invasion of Manchukuo campaign for late World War II? I mean, what an idea that would be, right? That's not to say it's coming into the game, that's just more of a future prediction for, like, I don't know, 2024. I have no idea, dude. Japan specifically will have one restriction whereby it won't play up against OP American gear for now. You can rest assured your jumbos will not be up against Tarsays. But as more gear is added for the Asians, things can change. Though it does mention that M2 Carbine will be involved against the Japanese as it's already in game right now, if you saw my recent video about the major update to Enlisted. In my honest opinion, Japan does have actually better stuff than the Americans on the whole. The SIG 1920, the Type 97 LMG, great rocket launchers, they just have really good stuff, really OP. So I honestly don't think it will be as much of an issue as some people seem to think it will be. Skipping a few questions and going right to the end of the last one, it says, ignoring everything and upgrading only machine guns, for example, is not possible. To access the next level of equipment, you need to open a certain number of weapons at the previous level. This seems to suggest you cannot just beeline down the SMG or assault rifle trees for any nation after the merge. Some of you may have been thinking you could unlock your STGs without even having unlocked the second version of a Kar 98K, which now you can't do. I think this is very important to keep, so good job, Darkflow. You will be able to specialize in a few SMGs and get ahead there, but you can't go super far down the tiers of SMGs, and I think that's very fair. It's the same system as in War Thunder. Last few small questions, and I promise we're nearly there. Super interesting is that the BR, the battle rating that will dictate the quality of your equipment you use and hence what theaters of war you get into in game, will be publicly available and shown to you after the merge, including individually and your total BR. This is important to know, so it's good it's there, for transparency reasons. And you also can't cheat the system by partying up, as the BR will be determined by the guy with the highest equipment rating. Nice try, Billy. Most controversially of all though, I think in the entire devlog is right here. Engineers will be able to use assault rifles, as they can currently only in Stalingrad. I think this is not good at all. Arguably the only not good thing about this news release. This makes engineers super overpowered, as if they weren't already super OP due to rally points. And I really hope this is reversed for the sake of the balance of the game. Please, Darkflow. Thank you. A few questions later, it says some premium squads will be removed. They may return in future promotions, which is good to allow players to get some unique and just awesome stuff, but the list of stuff being removed will be released in the coming days or weeks, or I don't even know how long. My guess is that most premium squads will stay anyway, but anything that doesn't really have much use anymore, i.e. premium squads which use weapons that are going to be available for everybody in the same faction, will be the ones removed. So not really anybody is going to miss them, if we're being honest. But for collectability, it's good to know and plan soon in case you do want them. So keep your eyes peeled if you're a whale like me. Now everybody, I mean everybody, asks about picking a battle location. People don't seem to understand that the whole point of campaigns merging, the whole point of this whole massive update that's coming soon, is to reduce the number of queues. Adding decisions to pick a specific location and excluding others renders the whole idea of a campaign merge completely useless. People don't seem to understand this fact. But that being said, they have said in this Q&A that they want to implement a mechanic to prefer certain maps, which won't be done now or as the big update is released. But I'm sure as the player base rockets after this update, it will be revisited, which is nice to see them listening to that area of the player base that is talking about this. I think it's a win-win for everybody here. Skipping a few more questions, you will be able to see that you will finally be given a boost to experience for opting to play any side. It's been asked for a long while now, and it's perfect to see it finally come to the game. So for that, thank you, Darkflow. And that's it. It took a while to explain, I know. Hopefully you guys had your coffees and food at the ready to consume whilst listening to this. Post your thoughts down below and I'll respond to any questions that I can, or you can ask me later today on stream. Massive thank you to my supporters, and I'll see you all very, very soon.